Goodness. And I think you see me vacillate around every day. This is a question that I'm grappling with at this time of my life. And I find myself having the urge to merge, if it's with other people, with plants, animals, with the divine, and then to come back into this body. And actually, Diane, I was curious if you were going to answer this question, because so much of what your work is about is the embodying the spirit. So I was very interested. So I guess where I am is still in flux, and again, within the two states of feeling emerging and feeling back within yourself. And some of what I am also is the deeds that I do in the world. And we were talking yesterday about practicing acts of kindness, and the kindness that comes forth and that affects other people. That's part of me as well, in terms of I don't want to use the word impact, but in terms of how it's received by other people. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. All right. So let's see. Niraj, did you just join? Have you been on for a while? Whoops. Niraj. Okay, don't hear from Niraj. Let's try. Okay, here's Kavi. I'm going to unmute you. What would your response be?
Honest response is I don't know. Actually, it's like Nipun said, it's a eternal question. I've been through mental illness, and while I was going through mental illness, I was actually seeking answer to the same question, and it drove me to that. And through Vipassana meditation, also I'm trying to. The same question surfaces, and it's like Nipun said very well. It's an eternal question, and it's ever changing. I've realized I'm not the body itself. I'm more than the body, but the honest answer is I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Kavi. Appreciate that share. Let's see, we have somebody who just got on the screen. This looks like Andrew. Is that you, Andrew, on our very screen? I don't hear you, but I see you. Okay.
He looks very scholarly with all the books behind him.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Okay, so I want to ask, let's see, Wendy Wemple, if I can find you here. I'm going to unmute you. For your response. Oh, you're there. Great. Okay.
Thank you. I'm only on the phone today. Gosh, thank you, everybody, for all your incredible responses. It's been so wonderful listening to each one of you. And for me, this is such a question that is up for me and has been up for me for the last year and a half. I spent many years feeling like I had a piece of myself missing because I didn't know really who I was or what my purpose was here. And it was a pressing question for me. It's not something you can go around on the street or ask your friends to talk with you about. So I really appreciate this opportunity. I am spirit. I'm a piece of God. I firmly believe that. And I believe that every human is also a piece of God, as if you were to have a piece of mercury in the palm of your hand and you put your finger in it and it splits off into little globules. And as soon as you remove your finger, so as soon as you remove the veil of the ego, the sort of present day, very heavy earthbound existence, as soon as you remove your finger, it all comes back together again as one indistinguishable whole. And I have, where I am now with all of this is the small self with a small s is my ego self, with a capital S is my soul, my God self. And what I'm practicing right now is to get away from the fear-based stuff in my life, which is really associated with ego, and to stay in the love, which is a connection to everybody, and just practicing that as I go through my day. And it, I used to think I would have to accomplish some huge, miraculous, work of charity or something like a Mother Teresa. But what I've come to realize is it's moment by moment with everybody that I come in contact with, everybody I see during my day, and really living in that love space. I can't really speak about death. I don't think about it. I haven't had any out-of-body experiences. Although I do think that focusing on spirit, goes a long way towards recognizing that I am not my body. Thank you for letting me say that.
Thank you, Wendy. Niraj, are you able to hear and speak on this line at this point? I see the icon for you on our screen. I guess not. So I guess, Barbara, that leaves you, and it leaves me. Oh, are you? Kay is texting us.
And Indigo.
Huh?
I don't think
Indigo.
Indigo is.
Oh, you're right. Absolutely. Thank you, Nipun. Got to keep track of all of us. Wow. Okay, Indigo, would you like to speak?
Yeah, in terms of directly answering the question, I think I can answer it more with a story than anything else. I was asked this question at a Buddhist retreat many years ago, the first time I actually met my current teacher in person, and he was asking me to the room, and so one person at a time would go up and kneel before him, and he would ask them the question again, and they would answer. And I remember sitting there in my seat and thinking, well, I don't know the answer. And then I started praying, and I just prayed, when I get up there, let me speak the truth. And so I would listen to people answer, and each time I would think, well, that is true. What they just said is true, but it's not the truth. And then I went up there and I said the prayer again in my mind just before I got up there, and he asked me, and I tried to answer, but I couldn't speak. And then I felt emotion, and I looked down and I saw that my hand was raising, and then it touched my heart, and then it went back down. And then I looked up at him, and all I could think was that the answer? I just thought it to him. And he bowed to me, and that was it. And after that, everything in the room was kind of sparkling. I remember trying to fold my katya, and it was just like kind of sparkling. And it was so fascinating that I would roll it up and then unroll it, and then roll it up and then unroll it, just over and over again. So I would say that is the closest to my understanding of who I am. And I'm sure that that's just one spectrum of that prism.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for that. Barbara, do you feel like you would like to speak? We have 2 minutes to answer coming from a deep place. Who am I?
Right now, as I hold my teacup and put the tea bags in and feel my feet on the floor, is this moment of who is here. And I turn that question into who are we? Who are we all as beings? That's another who am I? And who am I is the person who is trying to set a date for Maury's birthday party. And that ego self. And then who am I is the deepest, vastest open heart, who just loves and loves being, loves life. And who am I is she who hates, vastly hates so much of what's going on in the world, others. So who am I is all, is all. And I walk around with this question, Aryeh, as you know, all the time. All the parts of us, of all of us, that contribute to this world. And I'm filled with lots of love right now.
Thank you, Barbara. That's beautiful. Yeah. I guess that leaves me. I was thinking about what Kay talked about a near-death experience. And by the way, thank you, Diane, for commenting. You know, I just noticed that. I want to also encourage anyone to send messages if you like. But thinking about Kay's experience, for me, I'm coming from a different kind of place as I'm approaching this question right now. I'm thinking about the Haight-Ashbury in the 1960s. And there was something called the Human Being in Golden Gate Park. And there were about 20 or 30,000 of us that were gathered there to celebrate coming together of people. And Ram Dass was there, and Allen Ginsberg was there, and Leary was there, and they were passing out acid. You know, so of course I I took my share of the LSD, and I had this experience that who am I? I'm not this body. I'm all of us. And it wasn't like abstract. It was very physical, that when all of us moved, that was me. And it was an amazing, amazing shift in consciousness. I hadn't had that before. And after that, it gave me a place to go back to, say, oh, there's a different way of relating to who am I, and maybe I can find ways to do this. And I remember walking on Haight Street afterwards, and there were a few people, and I'd meet somebody, and we'd kind of look at each other, and I'd say, were you there? And the person would nod, and like there was nothing more to be said. We were there in that different sense of I. And I was about 20 years old at the time, and I made sort of the promise to myself that my purpose in life was to find other ways of coming back to this I, and to do it with other people. And in and out through the years, it's kind of stayed with me. And I'm feeling like, you know, just looking at all of you and hearing all of you here, you know, the journey continues.